My name is Elisa, and I'll be talking to you about the distractions of phones in schools. Phones have improved over the years ever since the first iPhone came out. With every new iPhone that comes out, some teens buy or their parents buy the new phones so they can show it off to their friends or they can share it on social media. We all get new phones, like the people who already have the new edition, or because we have an old phone now and we just need a new upgrade. While phones have influenced to buy us new ones, this has been a problem for students in schools and what screens do to their education and their future. Teenagers that are in middle school, high school usually have iPhones on them everywhere they go, especially at school. Some schools and U.S. policy allow them to have their phones out until class begins, but others have policy where the students have to turn in their phones in their lockers and turn them off. The issue on the table is that how many students have a way to use their phones during class without the teacher knowing. Most high school and even middle school teachers are in constant battle with smartphones and other devices for attention in the classroom. Students find ways to text, surf the web, or post on social media, all while the teacher is instructing. They hide their devices in their lap, a sweatshirt pocket, or even in an open pocket in their backpack. The end result is that they only have 0.5% in the classroom for each time. Sherry Gordon says from the Very Well Family Institution. With this happening in class, students ignore and lose their focus of the importance of education and what they want to do in the future. That's iPhone's restrictions. That's why it's so strict in schools nowadays. According to the book, The Distracted Mind, Another Brains in the High-Tech World, students become distracted when they are pursuing a goal that really matters and something that blocks their efforts to achieve it. For this to happen when technology is used in the classroom. This happens a lot, says Gordon. This is Sherry Gordon of the Very Well Family Institution. Over the past years, there have been so many school shootings. Over the past year, there has been more happening each time. This is one of the examples students argue against banning phones in school or having them in the classroom. These students argue that having phones could help them when an intruder comes into the school and starts shooting. For example, for the students that have a phone, they can call 911 and tell the police the situation they are in. This can save many lives. The issue of banning cell phones from school and classes doesn't change the minds of some of the students and parents, though. Some may argue that having phones is very important to have it at all times in case of emergency, or if a parent needs to call their child. The parents issuing the lawsuit are outraged that schools are banning cell phones, as the parents believe that these phones provide their children with vital tools of communication, especially if needs or emergencies arise. Furthering the argument, Siegel states that the cell phone policy, in effort since 1988, is illegal and unconstitutional because it interferes with students' rights or oversees the parents' rights to see their children's safety, says Jace Chen of the Public School Review. These outbursts by parents have caused many problems for the school and the whole community, but it does not stop. That's why, if such a huge problem in the society, this is why this is such a huge problem in the society, but understandable at the same time. In defense, School News reports that city educational officials with boomers' support have said cell phones are disruptive and distracting, can be used for cheating on tests, and can be used to coordinate gang activity. The New York City ban seems to illuminate the diverse arguments in the cell phones ban debate, like schools and community members are trying to find a common ground for the argument. Chen says, while some argue that students have phones while at school for emergency purposes or for any other necessary events that might occur, the other side that disagrees about having phones in the classroom says that without phones, grades have been improving. Another study published in the Journal of Communication Education found that students without mobile phones perform better in several different areas. They wrote down 62% more information in their notes. We are able to recall more detailed information from class and score a full letter grade and a half higher on a multiple choice test than those who are actively using their mobile phones, says Abigail Hentz of the NBC News. Students that are serious about their education and future know what they need to do to stay focused and know when to put away their distraction and keep them from their future later on in their life. Robin Cavell, principal of the Portage High School, says that they are not distracted anymore. She says the phones that are not promoting them, they know they can't have phones in the classroom. If they had been in the case years ago, we wouldn't have needed the policy. It doesn't take a scientist to tell that cell phones can be distracting. But if you want to do what confirmation from a scientist, it is hard to find. Study after study shows that the powerful computers can be used in their pockets, can be distracting for even the most disciplined of adults, not to mention students, Abigail Hentz says. Some phones are only distraction in classroom, but the truth is, it's the only thing students like to stare at. Previously, students have been distracted by other things than mobile phones. They might look out the window, staring at the ceiling, or attend to other matters when teaching did not catch their attention. If we had data on how often students previously engaged in these micro distractions, I believe that we would see the degree of the distractions corresponds to one represented by mobile phones today, says Professor David Lanson, who is a part of the research team for the study of researchers from SODAS monitored 470 university students use the cell phones continuously over the 2-period time using a screen tracking app to establish the connection between the use of smartphones in class and the students' academic performance. The researchers departed from the existing literature, which until now has largely relied on subjective surveys to suggest the students' use of smartphones has a negative effect on their marks. Making use instead of their behavioral data set allowed the researchers to apply a new and more noticed approach, Charlotte Abo of the World Economic Forum says. Phones are keeping our focus on what is really important and on what is in front of us and getting caught by our teachers. While using our phones is a good thing, it teaches us that it's time to put away our devices and focus on the task ahead. On the other hand, phones are not that bad. Sometimes we could or need phones for taking quizzes if it could help, with improving grades in classes. Since smartphones became part of our everyday lives, we have seen many academic debates on whether it is a good thing or a bad thing to allow mobile devices in the classroom. Researcher says, we increasingly use new technology in learning situations, such as for checking facts and taking quizzes that test learning. However, the research has often suggested that students' increased access to new technology in learning situations have a negative effect on their grades. Charlotte Abo says, while phones have a huge impact on students while in the classrooms, I believe that phones should not be allowed while class is in session because of the studies that have shown the effects it has on our brains while we are in school and not be distracted. Thank you.